Roland Wimbledon is a failed prince, deemed useless by his father. As a result, he is exiled from the kingdom and sent to develop a poor, struggling village. If he hopes to reclaim his rightful place, he must turn this village into a prosperous one. The story begins with a terrifying earthquake forcing miners inside a mine to rush outside to save their lives. However, one girl chooses to go deeper into the mine. At that moment, a miner becomes trapped beneath debris, scattering his gold coins across the ground. Instead of helping him, a thief tries to grab the coins. When the miner refuses to let go of his treasure, in anger, the thief pulls out a weapon and prepares to attack. Just then, the girl arrives at the scene and uses her fire magic to kill the thief. Next scene, we see her on the execution platform, her head covered as she faces death. Villagers and soldiers surround her, some throwing stones and shouting, "Witch! Witch!" The scene shifts to an ugly, pig-like man talking with the commander about the prince. The pig tells Carter that the prince doesn't have enough time to attend a witch-hunting ceremony like this. He also says that since this is just a poor village with a witch causing trouble, the prince would never come here. Next, we see Lord Barov going to call the prince. He asks a servant where the prince is, and the servant says the prince is still sleeping like a lazy dog. Barov goes into his room and finds him lying there like a dead man. He goes closer and keeps telling him to wake up, saying it's time to execute the witch. Roland is confused. He doesn't know where he is or why he's here. As he steps onto the balcony, he is shocked by the scene before him. People are shouting, "Prince! Prince!" and "Execute the witch." The prince stands in disbelief, staring at the witch. At that moment, his servant Barov speaks up, saying, "Your Highness, it's time to give the order to execute the witch." Roland, feeling confused, announces that he is very sick today and orders the postponement of the witch hunting ceremony, telling all the villagers to return to their work. However, the commander argues that the witch must be executed immediately, or more witches might come to the village and create greater problems. Roland replies, "Chief Knight, when more witches come, we will deal with all of them at once." Roland is traveling back to his castle in a horse-drawn carriage, feeling trapped in a poor and uneducated village. He contemplates what he can do in such a place, but tries to accept his reality. Once he arrives at the castle, he gazes into a mirror and resolves to use Earth's science and knowledge to transform the village into something entirely new. In the next scene, while eating, Roland calls for his servant Barov, asking him to sit down because he wants to discuss something important. Barov questions why Roland didn't order the execution of the witch, remarking that the situation is quite serious. Roland then asks Barov why he believes that is the case. Barov explains that his soldiers discovered a coin in the western forest. The coin bore the insignia of the sacred mountain and magic, indicating it belonged to the Witch Cooperation Association. Previously, witches lived apart, but now they are attempting to unite in search of the holy mountain, believing it holds the key to eternal peace. He also mentions that several baby girls have gone missing recently and suspects the Witch Association may be involved. Barov urges the prince to quickly order the witch's execution, warning that other witches might come to rescue her. He also mentions that this witch is extremely powerful and could defeat even a strong knight in a short time. However, the prince expresses his desire to meet the witch first. He questions how someone so powerful could be captured and why they are planning to hang her, as witches are usually executed by burning, not hanging. Barov explains that this witch can control fire, meaning fire has no effect on her. As the prince makes his way to the witch's cell, Commander Carter tries to prevent him from going, insisting that witches are very dangerous and it's unsafe for him to proceed. He also notes that the witch is wearing a god stone around her neck, which prevents her from using her powers. Despite the commander's objections, the prince reaches the witch's cell. Once there, Prince Roland asks the witch her name and how she was captured. She introduces herself as Anna and explains that her father was trapped under rocks in a mine. While trying to save him, she accidentally killed someone using her fire powers. The prince then asks how she was caught by the guards. Barov reveals that her own father turned her in for a royal gold coin. In a moment of decision, the prince removes the god stone from her neck. Instantly, flames spread around her, melting her chains. Surrounded by fire, Anna steps forward toward the prince and says, "You've seen my power, now kill me." Prince Roland approaches her with confidence, saying he has no intention of killing her and instead wants her to serve under him. After that, Roland is seen lost lost in thought, reflecting on the fact that he came from a completely different world. He starts thinking about the laws of physics, especially the second law of thermodynamics. Then it hits him. Witches in this world completely ignore those rules. They can generate energy from nothing without any restrictions. This makes him realize that their power could be the quickest way to transform this primitive land. While he's still thinking, a knock interrupts him. His assistant, Barav, enters, salutes, and greets him with good morning. Roland asks if the task he assigned has been handled. Barav confirms everything went as planned, explaining that the witch's execution took place exactly at noon. He also mentions that her face was fully covered, so no one in the crowd noticed she wasn't the real witch. Roland is pleased with the outcome and responds that it's perfect. He then immediately orders Barav to prepare detailed records, asking for a summary of trade, taxes, and all fixed expenses of the town over the past 10 years. Barav is left confused, wondering why the prince suddenly needs so much information. Roland fixes him with a cold look, saying he doesn't want any questions and just needs the work finished quickly. Barav's expression suddenly brightens, saying the prince is finally taking his father's order about the throne seriously. Roland then reflects on his siblings and the task their father assigned them. It's revealed that his brother Gerald controls Coldwind Ridge as a strong military base. His brother Timothy governs Valencia, the kingdom's economic center. His sister Garcia holds the main trade port of Clearwater, while his other sister, Tilly, rules over Silver City, known as the cultural hub. Meanwhile, Roland himself was sent to a neglected and decaying border town. Roland directly asks Barav about his real chances of winning the conflict. Barav answers honestly, explaining that his siblings' territories provide huge advantages. Compared to them, achieving success in this border town is extremely difficult. He also points out that the prince's past actions and poor reputation among the nobles leave him with no advantage in this competition. Even so, Roland is already thinking ahead, forming a plan to claim the throne. Soon after, the scene shifts to a castle corridor where Commander Carter is waiting for Barav. He asks what the prince said. Barav walks past absentmindedly, so Carter follows, warning him that the situation involving the witch is seriously troubling. Barav approaches her with a document, explaining that it is simply an employment agreement. He tells her that once she signs the final page, she and the prince will stand on equal terms while working together. Anna is confused by the idea of equality. Barav continues, saying the prince personally required this condition. The scene shifts to the garden, where Anna is sitting quietly. At that moment, Roland arrives, calling out to Anna as he steps into the garden. He walks up and asks if she slept well. She shyly replies that she did. As they walk through the large garden, Anna asks why he saved her, since she killed someone and should have been punished. Roland explains that her actions in the mine were self-defense, and anyone in her position would have done the same to protect their family. Anna responds quietly that even if he forgives her, she is still a witch. Roland then walks to a nearby bush, picks a flower, and hands it to her. Anna admires its beauty, but Roland suddenly says in a serious tone that the flower is poisonous. Startled, she immediately drops it. Roland then laughs, telling her he was joking and that everyone knows the flower isn't dangerous. He continues, pointing out that the nature of the flower never changed. The only difference was the way Anna saw it after hearing Roland's explanation. Roland tells her that witches are no different. Just like the flower, their abilities are simply a part of nature. They aren't born good or evil, it all depends on how those powers are used. Anna lowers her head and disagrees. She insists that her magic is dangerous and that anyone who gets too close could lose their life. In her eyes, the church has always been right. Witches are feared because they bring disaster wherever they go. Feeling completely hopeless, she begs Roland to end her life and put an end to her suffering. Roland remains calm. He tells her that if she truly chooses death, no one can stop her. But he also says that dying won't solve anything. It would only mean giving up and running away from the future. Instead, Roland offers her another path. He asks Anna to help him create a new world where witches no longer have to hide in fear. The scene then shifts to Roland helping Anna master her magic. He brings her to a secluded training area where no one will notice her abilities. Roland explains that her biggest challenge isn't gaining more power, it's learning perfect control. She must be able to adjust every detail of her flames, from their temperature to their strength, with absolute precision.